guys, so today is going to be a little bit of a swatch fest. I've got all of these shades back here that I'm going to be comparing to the Natasha Denona Sunset palette here. I got a request to do a dupes video, and while I have a ton of makeup, a lot of eyeshadows, I actually wasn't able to find exact dupes for a lot of these shades, and so we'll get into depth with that. And not to say they aren't out there, but I went through all of my single eyeshadows. So if you have your eye out on this palette and either can't afford it or something like that, or you have a lot of eyeshadows in your collection already, maybe we have some overlaps, maybe somehow this video is helpful to you to see if this palette is worth it for you to purchase, or if you want to get some singles or whatever that may be. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get us swatching. So before I actually go through all of my single shadows and show you what I think is pretty similar, I'm going to show you some eyeshadow palettes that maybe if you feel like you like the vibe of this but don't necessarily feel like the price tag is worth it for you, then maybe one of these other palettes will kind of do the job for you. This one actually isn't a close dupe by any means, but is a very popular one and also has a warm tone vibe. I also wanted to show you these two palettes side by side so you can see how dissimilar they are. So while you do have like a little bit of that warmer tones with the modern renaissance, there are some pinky purples, there's quite a few cream shades, and the Natasha Denona comes with a bright yellow shade as well as a bright red. And the closest thing to a bright red here are like purpley reds. So you can kind of see how those compare. Okay, and then we've got an inexpensive palette from Morphe, and this one here is the 12S, and they're all shimmery. While it does come with some neutral shades and some overlapping shades, they are more muted in tone. So you can see how they compare. And like I said, it doesn't come with any mattes. Now we're getting a little bit more within the same family of color. And this one is the Viseart 10 palette Warm Matte. So we've got all matte shades here. And it comes with 12 of them, all in square pans like this guy. And you've got a slightly brighter red. You can see how those two compare. You've got brown, you've got yellow, and you've got neutrals. No shimmers or duochromes in this one though. Violet Voss Holy Grail eyeshadow palette. So this one again is a little bit more pinky in tone overall. You can see how those compare. Violet Voss Ride or Die palette. If you're interested in a video on this, I do have one up on my channel. This is how they compare. Okay, so those are my closest eyeshadow palettes. If you're looking for an eyeshadow palette similar, none of them are dupes, but they do have a similar vibe to them. Now I'm going to go ahead and start duping specific eyeshadows. So this first one I'm going to show you is the Yellow Soul. So this is how the yellow from the Natasha Denona swatches. It's so, I mean, the quality is just fantastic. It's so smooth, pigmented, bright, long wearing. Again, if you want to know more about my thoughts, check out my video. There's this one from MAC, Chrome Yellow. I don't like the shade as much as the Natasha Denona. Let me show you what it's like. So it's a little bit more translucent. And then I've got a really vibrant yellow. This one is Neon from the Radioactive stack from Melts Cosmetics. also really pigmented and fun. A more mustardy, soft, muted yellow from Makeup Forever. This is M408. So those are the closest shadows I have in my collection to that yellow shade. Okay, now we're talking about the dark brown shade in Genius, which is this one here. And this is how the Natasha Denona swatches. I mean, so good. So the only matte shadow that I thought was similar is the Makeup Forever M626. Again, not saying that there aren't more out there. This is just what I happen to have in my collection. So that's how those two compare. This one's a little bit warmer. This one's a little bit cooler. Also, the Natasha Denona formula is like creamier. This one feels a little drier. The next shade I'll talk about is Panjin. Beautiful, bright red, very pigmented and smooth. The only shade I could find in my whole collection of single shadows is the Makeup Forever M846, and this one is deeper. So it's more of a berry tone, and the other one's more of a true red. I found quite a few pinky reds in my collection, but this was the closest. Next is the fantastic Morgana shade. Ooh, this one is gorgeous. It's a beautiful gold tangerine duochrome. Honestly, the only shadow that I thought was similar in my collection was Makeup Forever I722, but it's not exactly a duochrome. And the formula, again, I do prefer the Natasha Denona, although this Makeup Forever one is amazing as well. But it is lighter and a little bit more corally. This matte shade, Bermuda, is a light pink. It's also pretty unique to my collection. The only shade that I have that's sort of similar is Secrets by Colourpop, and it's more pink. This one's more peachy and neutral. So the next shade, Volcano, right here, is a warm brown, a little bit warmer, redder, and lighter than this brown up here. And this is what it looks like. Super pretty. So this one, I've got the Makeup Forever M608. As you can see, it's not as pigmented. And then I also have the Americano shade from Makeup Geek, which I love this shade. It's sort of a purple undertoned brown. I prefer the Natasha Denona. Now for this foiled shade here. I think it's called Udabi. Orange gold. Sort of bronzy. Really beautiful. I was thinking the NARS eyeshadow is Solde. It comes in a duo. So that's a pretty good dupe. It's still slightly different. This one's slightly more neutral. That one's slightly brighter. They both have really good texture. I've got one more that could be similar, and it's the Anna Sui Face and Eye Color S801 Little Baby Pan. And it's a little bit deeper. I'm going to move on to this arm, Horizon. And I've got 3 shades in my collection that I would say are similar, but definitely not dupes. Red Brick from MAC. This one's matte as opposed to like this satin finish, and it's deeper and more red. So as you can see, that's way more patchy. And then also from MAC, there's Rule. orange. Similar, but it's not a satin, it's also a matte. Okay, and then finally, this one is sort of similar. It's the MS45 from Stilazzi. Still, this Natasha Denona has way better pigment. Okay, and then we're back to another foiled gold. This one here, Sun Dazed. The texture of this is just unbeatable. I mean, look at that. I feel like I could swatch that one for days. Again, I didn't really find any good dupes. I wanted to show how this one was different in case you were thinking it's the same. And it's the Get Lucky from Colourpop. This one's also a beautiful shade, but it's very different. So you can see, it's more of that old gold than this orange gold that the Natasha Denona has. Now we've got Terra, which is a beautiful red brown. Sorry, I didn't mean to flip you off. Or maybe I did. Just kidding. The only thing I could think of that was sort of similar to Terra is Kat Von D Dolce, but honestly, it's not that similar. Terra is more of a satin matte, and this one is shimmery. I'm going to jump to Bronze Age. Did I say that weird? Bronze Age. This one's also unique. So it's a beautiful, almost rose gold bronze. This one here from Colourpop is Lala. Wow, I just swatched it on top of it. So it's more rose gold than Bronze Age. And then we've got Legend from Makeup Geek. Also fairly different. So it's deeper. And then Mandarin. This guy is a gold orange. The shade I thought was most similar was number 47 from Morphe. And then we've got Ice Gold here. It's a bright icy white. So I have a lot of cream shades or champagne shades, but as far as icy whites, I think this one might be similar. This one is Colourpop Tassel. It's more of a translucent base, but it has a similar look to it. And then it's more silvery than gold, if that makes sense. So this one's more silvery and this one's slightly more gold. And then we also have Kat Von D Thunderstruck, which is more golden. Has more of that yellow golden look. And then of course matte whites, Makeup Forever M126. I also have MAC Gesso, but that shadow kind of sucks. And that one is the Natasha Denona. Sinai, which is this one here. I don't really have a dupe for that, I don't think. Although maybe one of these guys up here might be similar. But I was thinking Coppering from MAC. Kind of similar. This one's more orange. And then the final shade is Atmosphere. This one here. Okay. Actually pretty similar to that Coppering shade. It's also similar, I think, to Sequin from Colourpop, sort of. Okay, so those are the closest shades in my collection to my beloved Sunset palette. I hope that this video was somehow helpful, and if you're new to my channel, subscribe, join my Cake Face family. I would love to have you. And if you're returning, thank you so much for coming back to my channel. Go ahead and press that bell next to the subscribe button as well to get notifications from me when I post new videos. And yeah, I will catch you in my next one. Bye guys.